You know what? I got into the taxi with the wrong redhead, and I found myself staggering away from not Thomas's house, but it was somebody else. And that, my friends, is how I tore my dress pants in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Yay!
DJ, we went live.
No, we didn't.
We did.
Well, that's just incriminating. But
I love that is the way that this started. That is the only way I'm cool with being on this podcast now. So, like, we're good. We're great.
Okay, good.
Stay tuned for more TJ rants. This is episode 116 of Sawdust Talk, and welcome. We are super, super excited. My sweet dear friend Sam from DIYHUNTRESS, and we are so excited for this.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to hang out with you guys for a little bit tonight.
I mean, this is where all the cool kids happen to be. If you are in the mood for a live woodworking and DIY based talk show on the internet, we are most definitely one of them.
I love it. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Other people that are glad that you are here this evening are our sponsors, one of which is Surf Prep Abrasives and Sanding Systems. You may think to yourself, you know what? How good can a random orbit sander be? And let me tell you, Surf Prep is about as good as it can get. Their abrasives are also top notch. I personally like using the mesh because you can wash them and use them again. Our other sponsor is Scott from George Supply Co. If you want a little microsite built so that you can have maker swag, shirts, flip-flops, cups, coffee cups, you name it, he's got it. And he's doing his own cyanoacrylite CA glue. Talk to Scott over there at George Supply Co. Thank you for being with us for so long and from so early on.
So I talked to Sam earlier, and she told me there's no reins on this episode. She said, ask me anything. I'm an open book. So that could be scary or it could be fantastic.
I was like, we're going to get me in trouble tonight. Let's go.
Yes. So I think first of all, like, I don't want to be the generic person and be like, hey, Sam, how did you get where you are? Because we all know that you started out like 12 years ago with a blog.
In like a teeny tiny corner of my dad's storage shed, like teeny tiny, the teeny tiniest, literally a corner.
But that blog kind of turned into, so 12 years ago, I mean, we're talking 12 years ago on Instagram, that was only like static photos that you would So
it was static photos, and it was like those horrible filters that you could choose from for all of your photos. And then you would think they look so artsy and so cool. And then you look back at them years later and you straight up were like, someone should have taken this phone away from me. I don't know why anyone let me post these photos with all these filters. But yeah, Instagram was still pretty new. I did the blog thing, and then I did the Facebook thing, and then I did the Instagram thing. And then people on Instagram asked for YouTube. So then 7 years ago, I put up my first YouTube video, which was absolutely terrifying, but the best decision ever.
Terrifying. I feel like that's like pretty common though. I mean, you go from, filming yourself in the shop and like doing a few things here and there and being like, oh, hey, look what I made, to being like a long form content. Like that is a really scary jump for most people.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. And especially if you're going from just having a blog where you're just photographing things and you're not documenting the whole process. I'm building something and then I'm taking my camera out and I'm taking a couple of photos of a couple of steps, but it's nothing as intense as filming an entire process from start to finish, having 30 hours of footage and then condensing that into a 5 to 10 minute video. I mean, now 20 to 30 is the range everyone's in now, which is a whole other wild thing. But yeah, it was definitely a scary jump. And I think after I posted my first video, I really didn't post another video for about another year after that, because I was so terrified of the idea of being on a video platform. But everyone's been so supportive since day one, and that has been so helpful in keeping me motivated to continue to keep posting for sure.
What do you, when it comes to like What has the evolution of your video process been like when it comes to like editing and editing software and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started on YouTube, I think like so many people do, I was doing everything myself. I was teaching myself how to film, how to edit. I was still doing the building. So I was doing all of it. And then really a few years ago, I just had this moment of panic in a sense of really telling myself I hate editing. Editing is just not my thing. I hate it. It does not bring me any joy. This is not it for me. And so I did hire an editor. Yeah, so now I'm doing the filming and the projects on my own, but I offload all that footage to somebody else to deal with because I do not want to deal with it at all, which has been the best decision ever.
I think that's really scary for people though, when you're talking about like going long format videos is like, that's intimidating. I mean, it's intimidating enough to like, post videos and like edit stuff in like CapCut or InShot or whatever for Instagram. But when you're going long form, like that's a whole nother level of editing.
Yeah. And I mean, I started basic on iMovie, just plug and play on iMovie, super basic things like splicing clips together and playing around with some music. And then pretty quickly, actually, into the process, I started to realize iMovie just wasn't going to cut it anymore, and then had to, yeah, teach myself other things. So I've been working on Premiere now for a few years, and now my editor really wants me to move over to something else, and I'm begging. I'm like, please don't make me learn something else. It's just too much. Like the learning Premiere was enough for me, but I guess that's the thing. You have to just evolve and adapt, right? You have to continue to learn, otherwise you just are stagnant and you don't grow. So I think, yes, the idea of learning something else is scary, but it pays off. Like it's worth it.
For sure.
So when you're sort of targeting that 20 to 30-minute long form range, in the process of shooting all of that, is there a lot of just sort of like set it and let it, like make sure that the camera's pointed at you and collecting it? Or do you work to sort of storyboard what you think is going to be most useful? Can you
I mean, I'm
let us
still
in on
figuring
some
out
of
too.
those
I'm really bad at
objectives?
storyboarding and all those things. I talk to other creators who full blown storyboard before they start shooting, and my brain just doesn't work that way quite yet. I hope one day it does because I think it would make me more organized. But for me, it's kind of like, I know the process of building, right? As woodworkers, as DIYers, we know the process of building. We know exactly what those steps are to create a project. So when I'm documenting my projects on video, what I'm essentially doing is telling myself, okay, if I were somebody who wanted to learn the process of whatever Sam is doing, how is that best absorbed, right? So I like to be a little more interactive with how I'm working with the camera now. It used to be that I would just set a camera and it would either time lapse or be really close up, and that is what people would get. And now it's more of, okay, I'll have it run for a little bit, but if I know I'm doing repeated cuts 10 times, I'll then move the camera a couple times during those cuts to get different angles. I think that too with short form video, our attention spans are different now and they changed, and we don't want to look at the same thing for, as long as we used to anymore. Our brains are constantly looking for that next thing that's like keeping it going. And so changing up the camera or showing different, angles of something, or having these panning effects where there's more than one thing happening in the footage at once, is just another way to get your brain to want to pay attention to that. So I started to think about that a little more. And look, I mean, my videos next month are probably going to be different than my videos last month, because this is all a process always for me. I don't think I'm ever going to be 110% happy with how my videos are turning out, only because I feel like there's so much to still learn and try and do. So every video I try to experiment like just a little bit more with something and getting out of my comfort zone a little bit. And whether that's talking to the camera more, or doing vlog style, or moving the camera around, or getting those cool angles, or shooting something super artsy from the corner of my shop that I typically wouldn't shoot. I'm always trying something a little different every video. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But then what I'm finding is the things that are working, I'm keeping, and I'm sticking with those things, and I'm learning more and evolving more. So it's been fun for me too, to get that footage back from my editor And then to be like, oh, that stupid shot that I thought would look dumb actually came out really cool. And that was a really enjoyable video for me to watch, which is saying a lot because I hate watching myself back and I hate listening to myself talk. So I do have those moments though where I'm like, something about this video in particular is making me happy. So I hope it makes my audience happy. What is it about that makes me happy? And then what can I take from that learning experience and that process and try differently next time so I continue to have that almost like surprise moment for myself too, you know?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I also, Jessie, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but it's right on subject. Is that you are one of the first guests that we've had who has mentioned working with an editor. And I was hoping, since you're kind of thinking about it right now, can you tell us a little bit about that relationship and how that's gone? We don't need monies, facts, and figures and stuff like that, but what's that relationship like? And do you feel like their vision is becoming what
Yeah,
you're
I
doing,
think,
or
well,
vice versa?
I got a
Like,
little
I'm
lucky
just
in this
super
process
curious.
because my brother actually taught me how to edit. So he's always been into YouTube and video stuff and editing. So for him, you know, when I first started, he sat me down with iMovie and was like, this is the basics. Here's what you need to know. And he really taught me a lot of editing styles and things to try. And then I took it on my own for years and years and years. And then I got to this point where I was like, I'm never giving this to anyone. I'm never letting anyone edit this. Like, they'll never edit it like I do. Like, this is my style. I love it. Like, there was a little bit of control there. But then I was finding I was sitting behind the computer for hours and hours and I was miserable. And I was really noticing a difference in my mental health and my mental state on days I was stuck behind a computer editing. And on top of that, I was juggling that with a full-time job, right? So I was going to a full-time job all day that was very mentally stimulating, very mentally draining. And then I would come home from a full shift and I would sit behind my computer for another 8 hours editing footage and I would be questioning all my life choices. So at that point, I was like, let's just try. And luckily, my brother at that point was available to help with editing. So he was like, he's like, let me just do this for you. I promise. Like, he kept telling me, like, you're going to want somebody to edit. Let me just do it. Let me just do it. And I was like, no, I don't want you to do it. And then finally one day I was like, okay, you can do it. I'll pay you. Please just take this off my hands. Yeah, just please take it. And I remember the first time I did that, within like 2 or 3 days, this dude sent me a full video and it was like done. Like, it was complete. It was beautiful. It was like, I remember getting that back and just my mind being absolutely blown and being like, I'm so dumb. I should have done this so much sooner. And it was just so life changing. And now I just get to focus on the thing that I want to focus on. But in terms of the process, and I think this is the same with a lot of other people with editors, essentially I'll just, record the footage, I do it into Google Drive right now. I'll drop the footage into Drive, gets downloaded on his computer. He edits it, sends it back. I'll make a couple notes like, hey, can you, move this footage here, maybe speed this thing up. We can cut this out. He'll send it back to me. I'll sit down. I'll do a voiceover. He'll do like final music, final audio, and then it's ready to roll. So there's just a lot of offloading in that process, and it's great. It's just really great.
Does your brother know about woodworking?
He does a little bit. Like, he knows enough to watch the footage and know what to cut out and know what you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like he'll be like, hey, listen, don't be mad. I feel like your hand might have been a little close to the blade and it made me uncomfortable to watch. And I know you're comfortable around the tools, but if it made me uncomfortable, it's probably going to make somebody else uncomfortable. So we're just not going to use that footage. And I respect the hell out of that, because like, having somebody else who knows enough about the process and the safety and how people are going to receive that and watch it and see it. And sometimes it's just the perspective of the camera. Like, I could be doing everything safely, but the way the camera set up is making it look like my hand is too close to a blade. And so for him, he has that judgment to be like, someone is going to be upset about this. I don't want anybody to do this unsafely. We're going to cut that out. And man, do I appreciate that. So it is like the perfect amount of knowledge for an editor to have of the process.
Yes, but also you can,
Way to go, bro.
feed into, the unsafeness, and you can just, torment the haters, which do we want to talk about that?
Man, I mean, there are always going to be haters. Like, let's be real. When you put yourself out there, there are going to be people who do not subscribe to it, and they will let you know. They're going to be like, listen, I am not a fan. I do not like what you do. I am not here for that. And you know what? You can't make everyone happy. You can't.
And they're all letting you know via
Right? Like,
anonymous internet contact.
That is the big. Oh, sure.
I'm
But
sure
also, too, I always have this thing of like,
like,
would you say that to my face? Like, if you were in the room with me and we were having a conversation, would you say that to my face? And I'd say 90% of the time, no, right? And like 10% of the time, maybe, because it's somebody who wants to or thinks they're giving constructive criticism. And sometimes the constructive criticism comes off as just blatantly being rude. And you have to kind of discriminate between, like, is this person genuinely trying to give me advice or help me, or is this person just being honestly like a butthead? Like, I don't know, but you have to sit back and think about that. But also, too, I have so many philosophies on this. First and foremost, if I don't like something you're commenting, if it's just straight rude, if it's constructive criticism, I'll take it. I'll leave it. It's cool. You're trying. I get it. I'm here for it. But if it's just straight rude, it's getting deleted. Like, it doesn't get an ounce of my time. It's just, that is not the vibe that I want on my page. That is not it is not a conversation I want started in my comment section. It is just going to attract the wrong people. So I'm at this point in my journey where I just don't entertain it. If it is rude, if it is derogatory, if it is gross, it's getting deleted. And I think I used to want to entertain that a lot more, but then I was noticing like it was just getting to me. So I just would rather protect my peace,
Yeah, you can. There's some comments you can like take it, leave it. But I mean, what was it like? Lizzie last week, she did a reel.
Oh, I loved that. I loved that.
Like,
it was so good.
It's like, but I mean, that's something, I mean, I share with you as well, is like being a woman in the maker community and trying to do anything construction. You're gonna get hate. Like, you are gonna get mansplained 2 ways to Tuesday. Like, that's just how it's gonna go. So
yeah. And look, I mean, like, I have my fair share of days where I'm feeling spicy and I will bite back a little bit because I can and I'm going to, and you asked for it, right? But I do, and I have, and sometimes I love getting spicy, and then like the comment of me responding to somebody and getting spicy back just blows up, and then people start egging me on, and I don't feel bad. Like, you asked for that, right? And it's usually the really sexist ones. It's usually like the people who think they're so funny and they're making like kitchen and sandwich jokes, and I'm like, oh my God, definitely don't quit your day job and become a comedian, because we've heard it 10 million times already and it's just not funny. But yeah, it's there, and it happens, and it's rampant. And especially, when you're a woman using power tools, something about that is just it's a good recipe for people to just say a lot of crap. And I don't know. It used to bother me a lot more. I think I've just grown really thick skin at this point.
I don't think it matters though if you're like man or woman in this community. Like, if you start getting comments like that and any one of our friends sees that comment,
oh yeah,
you don't have to fight it anymore. Like, you might be like, oh my gosh, that's insane. Like, I'm gonna, comment back real quick and just like be spicy for a second. And then all you have to do is like walk away, because our people have it. Like, we have an army that will take care of that person for us.
And I always go back to that. My whole thought of it is the maker community is amazing. And when you surround yourself with the right people, those negative comments don't matter anyway, because at the end of the day, for every one crappy comment that you're getting from a stranger on the internet who has no idea who you are, you're getting, over the lifetime of posting, thousands of positive ones from people who are actually there to support you and cheer you on. And that's what matters. And that's where our energy should be spent, because you're never going to talk to that stranger ever again. But like, the relationships you're making with the people in your community are so good. focus on that, you know?
TJ, you need to get on this. I can talk to her all night long.
No, it's perfectly fine. I was just wondering, totally changing subjects because it's really difficult for me to chime in about being mansplained.
Well, so mansplaining is what happens when...
You just got woman-splained.
Lovely. Love that. Thank you. Is there anything that you have yet to attempt that you think you would want to put on camera? Or at least maybe like document your process of learning something different?
I think that's been my journey all along, and it's something I want to continue to do. So I always I hate that saying, practice makes perfect, because I don't think anybody's perfect at anything. I think there's always room to grow and learn and do new things. And I'm in the process of building my new workshop right now. And so now that I'm going to have a proper workshop set up, there's so much I have to learn, and there's so much I want to do, and there's so many techniques I want to try. And now that a lot of the reno in my house is done, I can go back to my woodworking roots and start honing that. And like, for instance, Eric Curtis is coming to visit in a couple weeks, and I told him, like, I want you to come here with my tools that I'm comfortable with and teach me really cool things and help me make some jigs for my shop, and let's make cool furniture together and document it. So that's the thing I'm the most excited for next, is trying all these new things and like sharing that with my audience and showing them that I'm also learning. Like, I'm no expert, I'm learning, I'm trying new things. I'm going to be really bad at it, and like, that's okay, but it's part of the process. And I can't wait for Eric to school me in 2 weeks in my own shop, teaching me how to do joinery I've never done before. You know, like, I think that's going to be fun.
I think you're right. That is precisely the
I'm
word
so
to describe
excited
that.
about it. I can't wait.
That is going to be.
And it is scary in a way, right? You're learning something new and you're not great at it. But whatever, like, you get great at it eventually. You keep trying, and then you like it enough that you want to get good at it. So I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's one of my core tenets of the sort of maker community and philosophy, is that, like, it's okay to be bad at stuff, especially when you first start, because it's really hard to nail it on the first try. And so, like, some of the best learning and some of the best stories come from overcoming hardship. And so, like, if you just have the courage to go after it, right? And like, okay, so
and that's the thing too, is like,
okay, what did we learn?
I really like to do this thing in my videos where I'm always showing my mistakes. I am not afraid to tell people in my video, I screwed up, I did this wrong, let's try again. I just think it's relatable, and it's part of a learning process, and nobody's perfect. And I think that for me personally, part of the problem with social media right now is that everything does look too perfect, because you're looking at highlights and you're looking at 60-second reels. Like, I just did a month-long project that I put into a 60-second reel. That was so hard, because it is a whole month of footage in 60 seconds. And when you watch that, it looks like I'm a superhero. It looks like I just did that flawlessly in 60 seconds. But realistically, I didn't. And that's what I like about YouTube is, well, that same video is a 34-minute video on my channel, where in those 34 minutes, I was talking about all the things I messed up on. And that's relatable. That's real life.
I could not agree more with that whole statement. I mean, I think that's like the toxic perfection that everybody sees online these days. And it's hard when it comes to Instagram and, you know, the algorithm saying like, oh, we need to shoot for like 10-second videos. It's like, but how can you show the trials and the errors in a 10-second video? You just can't. So it is a challenge, but I think a lot of people feel that too.
No, I for sure. And that's one of the biggest people. Sorry, I'm laughing because I forgot water, and I asked my husband to bring me water. Look at the mug he brought it to me in.
That's adorable.
Solely because he was like, I want to see you drink out of that while you're recording live on camera right now. Does this make you happy? Are you happy?
Great.
I can't. It's gonna come out of my nose.
It's my favorite.
I like how it's
podcast, you
dripping
really
too from the udders.
Come on, Bubba.
He just goes, "This is my favorite podcast you've ever been on."
For those of you who can't see, and this is just not a thing, Sam is now drinking out of a cow mug with udders.
Whew.
Yes, supported by four.
There are four
Four
udders that are
teats
kind of
on the
also
bottom.
working as legs for the actual mug in case anyone needs the visual. It's great.
Yeah, that's
Talk
that's
about
some
not
pretty
talk
majestic
about no
pottery you got
perfectionism
there.
over here. We keep it really real, drinking out of freaking udders and clear mugs. I'm crying. Okay, but yes, I do agree. Backtrack.
Me with my plebeian bottle.
I think every guest. I think every guest from here on out should drink out of a funky mug. I think that needs to be like the rule.
We could do that.
But so
Yeah,
backtracking.
there's a Cracker Barrel a few miles from my house. There's got to be
Perfect.
something that you would find in a thrift store in hell.
That's
confined in
amazing.
those
I love
walls.
that.
Yeah.
But the perfectionism thing, I think it really is. It's exhausting, right? How exhausting is it to scroll through Instagram with all these 15-second, 30-second, 20-second, whatever clips, and then you're seeing people do all these projects. I get it too. And I'm someone who completes a lot of projects in a month. I'm posting at least 2 projects a month on YouTube, and those are massive projects. I'm pumping out a lot of projects. I fully renovated my house in basically 2.5 years. So I'm someone who does a lot, but even me, like I'll scroll through Instagram and I'll see people accomplishing all these things in these 30-second reels. And I'm like, man, I'm lazy, or like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not working hard enough. What are you doing? Get off the couch. Stop watching TV. Like, you took a snack break today. What's wrong with you? All these people are like building mansions in 2 seconds. Right. So I think we all kind of get stuck in that loop of watching that content and feeling like we're not doing enough. But the reality is it's editing, guys. Like, that is movie magic. So editing makes me look 50 million times cooler and more adept than I am in real life. I say it all the time, but it really does. Like, it's the magic of editing. So if you are someone and you're scrolling and you're watching all these videos, and I think I do have to do a better job of doing this. I used to do this a lot more, but about once a month I would post like a real-time shot of like me in a messy shop, or me like doing something super mundane with just my general brain vomit almost of talking about why social media is fake, and here's my reality, here's my situation, here's what I'm doing, and this is why like that 60-second reel doesn't matter. And I used to do a lot more of that. I think I have to go back to doing that again because I think it resonated with a lot of people. But yeah, if you're one of those people who's scrolling and you're seeing these things and you just keep feeling like you're not doing enough, just like remember, just keep telling yourself it's movie magic. Like, this is movie magic. This is not real life. Because it really, I promise you, no one has their shit together. Just no one does. They really don't.
I love seeing like people that post like blooper reels where it's like, here was the project I posted. Here's my 45, 30, 45-second reel and all the Instagram perfection that it is. And then it's like cuts to like, dropping plywood on your foot, or like cutting the trim wrong, and the 17 cuss words that come out when things are not going the way that they're supposed to go.
It's funny because I used to not always keep that in, and then when I actually got my editor, I remember him sending a video back to me, and it was riddled with all of these moments of me just not having a great time during this build. And I remember cry laughing watching this. And I said to him, I was like, thank you for keeping all that in because it's so relatable. It was such a turning point in my content for me where I was like, I have to do more of this. And actually, funny enough, I was editing or doing VO and final edits today for a video. And there was a moment in the video where I literally go to clamp something and I drop it and I like squealed. I was like, and then you see it like fall. I was like, I almost broke my foot with that. And like, I just had this moment. He kept it in. It was just so funny. And it just breaks up the monotony a little bit of like, again, when you're cutting fast and you're watching these things, it just looks like people like have it together. And then you have this moment where you like drop a clamp on your foot and squeal like a little 5-year-old girl. And then you're like, right, great. Like that was real life. And we're going to keep that in because that's what it is. Right. So I don't know. I just encourage people more often than not, keep those moments in. People want to see it. It's relatable. We all go through it. Just do it. You know, it's fun.
And so for Christmas, are you going to compile like a supercut of all of the times that you've recorded yourself dropping the F-bomb and then like put the theme from Pulp Fiction behind it and then just like let her rip like a
that sounds great. I actually think that
chainsaw, or how does that work?
That is going to be the Christmas gift that keeps on giving every year, I think, from here on out. I love that.
TJ will he'll compile.
Yeah. So my thing is that I'm.
Oh, what happened there?
We have a glitch in the matrix.
You can talk. You're good.
Okay, so am I back synced?
You're synced. You're good.
Okay, sorry. Freaking me out. There was like some background noise or a TV or something, and I was like, oh boy, here it starts again. No, I've been attempting to stop swearing because of young children, because they're getting to the age of becoming parrots. And so that means that I get to create longer and more elaborate profanity made out of, you know, normal people words. Like mustache comes up a lot, trapeze, toaster, lip, that kind of stuff. Like I really weave it all together, and I wonder if that's going to become a part of some videos that I'm working on right now.
Why not? You should definitely do it. I think that that's fun.
TJ, I think you should just post videos in general.
You're not the boss of me.
Fun. Post content.
I do a lot that doesn't involve having a camera pointed at me.
I will say, like, I grew up in a big, loud Italian family on Long Island, so the F-bomb is just second nature. Sometimes it just is part of my vocabulary, and I don't realize I'm always saying it or doing it. But that's also relatable. Like people just curse. Like it's just part of language, you know? It just happens. And especially if you grew up around it, I don't know. The running joke is that me and my siblings were just born saying the F word. Like that is just, you know? So yes, I'm sure I have tons of footage of me dropping F-bombs in all of my projects. Forget it, let alone it's like the running joke on the podcast that I have with Two Moose and my coffee, where we're like, oh, 27 seconds this time, Sam. That's all. Like, new record. It took you 27 seconds to drop an F-bomb today. Great job. You did great. So it's just, I don't know. I have many, many hours of footage of that I think would be great to put together as a compilation.
Oh my God, Christmas is going to be so good this year.
Sam, do you want to talk about your podcast a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So so it's been fun. So recently started a podcast called Self-Made Pod. It's with Mike Coffee from Coffee Custom Woodwork and Two Moose Design, so Jeff and Jess. And basically, you know, the whole thing is that the four of us talk about being business owners all the time, casually anyway. So we did that friend thing where we're all kind of having a couple of drinks. We're like, we should have a podcast about this. Like, we should talk about this on a podcast. And we were like, why not? Let's try it. Let's just see how it goes. And we really wanted the vibe to not be serious at all. Like, we are four small business owners. You know, we built our businesses from the ground up. And yeah, like there are serious topics when you talk about those things, but it's also, we just wanted it to be like hanging out with friends at a bar and just like having a conversation about the ups and downs of being business owners and also being human beings and also having social media presence, like as if we were having a group chat via text and just invited everybody into our text. Like that is the vibe. So it's been great. We have, I think, 10 episodes or 11 episodes out, so it's still relatively fresh. And every episode we're like, is this the episode where we figure it out? No, next week. Next week sounds good. Like that'll be the one we do it on. But it's been great. I've been having a blast with it.
Aren't you missing an episode?
Are we missing an episode? I don't know.
Didn't one get deleted or something?
Oh, I don't know. My rule was like, I want no part of the technology. Do not ask me to do anything with the technology. I just want to show up and like hang out with my friends and talk about life. Occasionally they give me a task to do that they're like, we think Sam can handle this one today. But when it comes to the tech aspect, I'm like, you guys got this, right? I'm just here for emotional support.
You're like, can you please remember that I hired an editor for a reason? Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Which, by the way, the one task they gave me, I handed off to my editor immediately. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. You can have this. I'll pay you extra.
Oh my gosh, that has been a thing for TJ and I when it comes to the whole podcasting thing is, you know, Braden has moved on to another Woodshop podcast and we're super happy for him, stoked for him. But TJ and I have had to kind of take on new tasks that we are not used to doing. Braden was quite the, you know, I don't know, how do you say that, TJ? Like, he just kind of...
He was really good at editing together cute and quippy stuff.
He did. He kind of just did those things, and he just took it all on. Which, I mean, I think he enjoyed, from what I know. But now that it's just me and TJ, I'm like, hey, do you got this side of it? Because I'll do this side of it, and I'll figure out how to do this, and he'll figure out that, and we'll be good. It'll be fine.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of messages going back saying, oh my God, I gotta learn how to do that. Oh my God, I gotta learn how to do that.
Yeah, it is. It's like, your strengths and weaknesses. For me, I was like, I don't even know how to. There are times I text my brother because he's almost 10 years younger than me. And I'm like, don't judge me. How do I do this one thing on my phone? And he's like, are you kidding me right now? He's like, how do you have a business that thrives online? And every day I straight up am like, I have no idea why anyone lets me do this unsupervised. It is a miracle I'm in business. It is a miracle. So I get that when it comes to if I ever had to be the person to edit a podcast episode or upload it, it just would not happen. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
I learned how to do that.
You got
that
it.
Is something that we're very proud of you for.
I can post a podcast to the Spotify's and all of the streaming platforms, and I have that down.
There you go. See? I have no idea how to do any of that. You're going to have to teach me, I guess.
Jessie is going to get turned into Big Deal Jessie. You're a big deal.
Instead of Big City Jessie. So, little sidetrack. So I feel like you don't talk about your husband a lot. I know that he has a bike shop.
Yeah.
But he's not very present on DIYHUNTRESS.
So one of the things that I think works very well for both of us is that like we both have very intense passions. So I have my DIY, my woodworking, the home reno stuff. Like I'm so passionate about that. And he has like the cycling stuff. So he runs our local bike shop. He races in like pro circuit road cycling. We do a lot of traveling for that actually in the weekends too, especially in the summer, which is really cool. So like on the days that I'm working till like 10 o'clock at night in my shop, he's typically on his bike training till like 10 o'clock at night. And so he's wild. He rides his bike like 200-300 miles on the regular every week. It's just like, wow. I'm exhausted thinking about it, to be quite honest. But yeah, so like that's kind of his passion. So in terms of the reno, I'm very fortunate to have somebody who's very patient with me because he'll just come home and a wall is missing and I'm like, hi, and he'll be like, this is normal. Like, cool, great, can't wait to see what it looks like.
Look what I did for you.
Yeah. Like actually he came home one day and like I took a wall down upstairs and like just decided today was the day I'm going to take this wall down. And then he came home to no wall and he was just like, this is normal. Yes, great.
Normal.
Like you do.
I wish I caught it on camera because I would have put it in the video because it's just like the best reaction ever. But yeah, so that's like his passion and what he does, and it's really great. And it's nice. Like we get to travel to cool places in the summer and do some cool stuff there, and it really forces me to take time off.
does he race criterium or long road races or?
Yeah, all of it. So he'll do road racing, criterium races. He loves time trials. Like that's one of his top things
Is
he
he
likes to
also a
do.
cyclocross weirdo?
He started to dip his toes in that water recently,
That's
actually. Yeah, you know what it is too. It's like that's one of the only things that you can do off season, cycling wise, right? Because it doesn't have to be nice. It can be crappy out and cold because it's a lot of like on road, off road stuff. So he's starting to do that a little bit too. Yeah.
That's fun. I managed a bicycle shop here in St. Louis before I got into.
See, you know.
So yeah.
Yeah.
No, I abandoned my automobile for the better part of like 19 to 20 months.
Wow.
There was a shower at work, and I got to ride a bike and talk about bikes and fix bikes, and it was awesome.
Yeah, you're looking for a part-time job when it comes to Long Island? We got you.
I can think of worse places to be.
Especially in the summer, we got like Jones Beach here. We got some concerts at the beach. Like, let's go. We got you.
Very cool. Somebody's got to fix all those hipsters and their track bikes, right?
Yeah, no, it's been good. Like the business, it's 2.5 years now, which just time flies. Like it just flies. But it's been 2.5 years since we opened the store. And it's been great. It's been busy. We're really fortunate. Like the community has embraced the store and the cycling community with open arms. So it's been awesome. We couldn't ask for anything better, honestly.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool like that. Like we're each running our own little small business because we also get it. Like it's nice to have a person who gets what it's like to run a small business.
That means that you can cheer for each other in the way that each other probably needs to hear. Right? And that's awesome.
Exactly.
But you also go your separate ways and be like,
yes,
this is my thing. This is your thing. Okay, we can be
and it's nice too, but that's exactly what it is. Like it's nice. Like we each have these things we're so passionate about, and to be able to like give each other the space to explore that and do that like all the time it's great. Like I'm very fortunate to be with somebody who gets it and understands it, like knows what that feels like.
So I know that you have posted, was it like the end of last year? You were posting a little bit about burnout.
Oh yeah.
So what happens when you're going through burnout and your husband is going through burnout with his small business as well? Has that happened at the same time?
Yeah, so this year what I did is I booked a non-refundable vacation for us.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I knew that we weren't going to take the time off.
Yeah.
And I knew that we were basically both just going to work ourselves into the ground and continue to do that. So I literally like dumped all of my points from my card and bought us round trip flights to Puerto Rico. And then I booked all of these hotels and resorts and all these things for a full week that were non-refundable. And I was like, if it's non-refundable and I booked it with my points and we cancel, we lose everything. Like we lose all that money. We lose all the points. We lose all that time. And so we're like, well, we don't have a choice. Let's do it. And that is, I have not done that for us in a very long time. I think it's been 5 years since we've been on an actual vacation. And it was so necessary. And we both came back from that vacation feeling like brand new people.
I love that.
Did you take any time to just sit on butts while you were on vacation too? Because that's kind of important.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
we type A's and you got to sit on ass every once in a while.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, like we still did like adventures, hiking and exploring and all those things, but we did have one full day where we just sat by a pool with drinks, and it was great. It was great as one day, but then after that day we both were itching. We were like, we can't do that again. Like we're just not sit by pool people. We're like the next day we hiked him out in Peak because we just couldn't sit still anymore.
Hold on. You said anything was a go, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Was this the vacation that a photo?
Oh God, yes. Oh. So we can tell us. Okay, so we were in Rincon and we were hiking to this like private waterfall, and it was gorgeous, and we were swimming at this waterfall, and Chris took this like really nice photo of me looking up at the waterfall, and I was like, whatever. I was in like a super cheeky bikini. It's really private, whatever. Butts, like sun's out, butts out, you know, whatever. And so I had the picture on my phone, and I was in a rush to go to a commission when I got back from vacation. And Instagram now has this feature, I guess. Again, this is why I don't know why anyone lets me use technology unsupervised. Instagram has this feature now where you can like select multiple photos or videos in your camera roll, and then it posts to stories as multiple. So it used to be that you can click one, right? It posts the story. But now if you're scrolling and you accidentally click another photo and then don't realize it, and then that photo can post with whatever story. So I literally have the story of like, yeah, heading to my commission, boo, 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 whatever. But I didn't realize that I must have accidentally, in my scrolling, also tapped the photo of my buns out with the sun out in Puerto Rico. And all of a sudden I like log on. It was like up for, I think, not even 30, it was like 22 minutes or something. And I log on to Instagram and I was like, why do I have so many? It was like DMs. I was like, why do I have so many DMs? Like, I just did, it was early in the morning too. And then I like opened my, and then actually a friend texted me and was like, nice butt. And I was like, what the hell? Where did you see that? And so I like panicked, realized that my butt was out on Instagram, and then deleted it. But by the time I delete, like by the time, yeah, like delete, like fast enough. By the time I realized it, it was up for 22 minutes. It had almost 3,000 views already in 22 minutes because my butt cheeks are out all over social media.
Like you do, right?
I mean, it is what it is.
I know. I mean, it could have
right?
been worse. It could have been worse. It really wasn't horrible. But the fun part was I went on social media later that day and I was like, okay, so I think I hit my PR nightmare for 2024 and it's only the first week in February. Here's what happened. If you saw my butt, I'm really sorry. No one wants to see that. But essentially like, okay, like we're good. This is why I need some, maybe like a PR coach to like clean up all my messes for me because I'm a mess and I should not be allowed to use this platform without anybody checking my work. That is just where we are.
That also comes like you were going through like a whole phase of like burnout and you're like, we're going on a vacation. I'm checking out. And then
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay, this is why I needed a vacation. Now I need another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we went from doing DIY to thirsty DIY, and it almost to do it.
Well, you know, these things happen, I guess.
Hey, look, sometimes you got to do it for the gram. That's what the reels talk, right?
Yeah, but the worst part is I didn't even do it for the gram, nor did I want to post it on the gram. It just was like a slip of the thumb. And I was like, dang it.
You can't even claim fat thumbs though, because you're like the tiniest thing ever.
No, that is me. That is like when you are rushing to get a post out and then you get it out and then you realize that there are so many mistakes either in the post or the caption. And you're like, if I just took 2 seconds to breathe and not rush this thing out like my life depended on it, I would have been fine. But no, here we are, and now my butt's on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I sent a message to Patrick Duffy Sunday or Monday night that had a bonus picture, and it wasn't anything incriminating. It was my handsome face, but it wasn't contextually relevant to what was happening at the time. And I was like, oh yeah, and by the way, I'm good looking still. Like, move on.
But see, I know it just happens. It happens to the best of us.
It's all good. So we are coming around like 50 minutes of the podcast. Before we get too far, I want to take a moment to be selfish, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not selfish. I mean, like, gonna talk about you, but I think I've known you for like 2 years now, and I just want to say how much I appreciate you coming on the show tonight and how much I appreciate how genuine and kind and open you are. I
Mhm.
think meeting you in person, I was like super like starstruck, and I was like, oh my god, this is Sam. I'm talking to Sam.
Oh,
And
weird. I'm a hot mess in person, so like, there's nothing to be starstruck about.
oh, but you were another reason why I love this community so much, because you are so genuine and so open and so kind. You've always been that way. I
I
think
love that. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I'm just an open book, and I think a lot of us feel this way, but I feel like I really found my people in this community, and in my late 20s, my early 30s. Growing up, I feel like I just didn't really quite fit in with any crowd. And I think a lot of my teenage years, I was fitting myself into all these boxes, and then I started meeting people in the maker community, and I was like, yeah, these are my people. Like, I finally found people who get me and like me, even though I'm like a total weirdo, and like love that I have no filter, and these are just people who are always gonna have my back and cheer me on. And the way that the community makes me feel, I want to make other people feel, because it is so special. And when you find that, like, you can't, like, don't let it go, and so I just want people to feel welcome in this community. I'm always willing to try my best to help others and give advice and keep it real and do these things. So, and I appreciate that you're saying that and it comes off that way, because I am a lot, and I'm okay, and I'm embracing that I'm a lot, and I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's cool too. But but I'm a lot in like I will like give you the tightest bear hug ever, even if we've never met way. And so like I appreciate you saying all of that.
it's a tiny bear hug, though. For anyone who hasn't met Sam in person, like she's like a miniature. I mean, I'm not a tall person, but Sam she's even smaller.
I just love it because it takes people by surprise when they meet me for the first time, every single time. And I think it's because the shed shop was so small that me standing in that shed with these like low ceilings made me look like a tall human being for like years and years and years, for like at least 5 or 6 or 7 years of working in sheds. And then people met me in person, they were like, whoa, you are really tiny in person. So
Sam, the tiny
surprise.
giant.
Yeah, basically. Just wait, my new shop has these like super tall, I think it's like, it has to be at least 16 or 17 foot
Yeah.
ceilings. And so now being in that shop, I think people are really going to get a vibe for how little I am. Seeing me in a real size shop with big ceilings now, I don't think I'm going to be surprising many people in the future, but it is fun to meet people for the first time and they're genuinely shocked at how little I am.
We
And
have a few other things that we need to touch on before we wrap up this show, by the way.
Let's go.
One of the things that Sawdust Talk is extremely proud of is our involvement with Mike and Makers for St. Jude, and the work that he and our sponsor Surf Prep are doing to raise money for the St. Jude Children's Charity.
Love that.
And Hannah over at Surf Prep, our delightfully generous sponsor for this show, recently posted a fundraiser for winning a 3x4 sander. And the end of that is coming up soon, but I believe that she has raised almost $5,000.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Afternoon, but I think she was at like 4,300. And that brings the annual for 2024 as of May 1st well over $10,000 that we've raised, surpassing our fundraising of last year.
I
And
love that.
since inception, that does put us just a scotch over $20,000 raised by makers for St. Jude Children's Charity, which I think is super radical.
Oh my God, that's amazing. They're amazing. They're just an amazing crew over there too. So I'm not surprised by any means that this is the type of rallying we're doing for a good cause. I love that.
Yeah, it's been a fun time in like the group message today. I mean, just like as the raffles are unfolding and people are reaching their their limits and reaching their goals.
Yeah, Kimani hit his fundraising goal today also, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Kamani did. Gray Elephant Goods did. Ashley Dawes needs a little more love, and I don't know if you guys have seen this lion that she did. She scroll sawed the Lion of Courage.
It's so cool.
Incredible. And I put a bid on it, so don't go do it. I mean, do it, but don't.
Yes, go do it.
Go do it. Go do
Thousand
it.
Cancer sucks. Raise money.
I'll buy it from you, and then I'll donate more to St. Jude. But yeah, no, it's been a fun day, because today was the day that we surpassed the like $10,000 in the year of 2024. So I say we, but Mike really.
Mike does all the heavy lifting. We're just really proud of getting the word out and keeping him stoked about doing what he does.
Oh, I love that.
He is super incredible. But yes, so Surf Prep. I mean, we could go back to like just thanking the sponsors real quick.
Yeah, definitely. Hannah, one more time, not only thank you for donating for St. Jude's Children's Charities, but also just being a righteous sponsor. And if you guys haven't tried Surf Prep abrasives, then shame on you. Sorry. No, they're wonderful. And the dust collection that their different sanders offer is really quite impressive. I highly suggest looking into Surf Prep as a system. And if you're doing drywall work or do a lot of painting, they will be coming out with a 7-inch abrasive system that is universal with 7-inch drywall sanders. Really cool stuff. I'm stoked to be on the short list of cool kids that get to use 7-inch disco rings to make my drywall smooth. Also, Scott over at George Supply Co. I think he got a new batch of CA. I think he does thin, he does thick. He does not do colors, but he does do great prices. And if you need maker swag, you talk to Scott over there at George Supply Co. That does mean that the time is now 9:58 Central Time. And Sam, that means that we kind of forgot to touch on this in the pre-show, so you are absolutely getting caught off guard. But we typically close our show with a question that goes something along the lines of, Sam, we have listeners, we have viewers, we have people who are watchers, we have people in the maker community, and we have complete strangers that are going to stumble on the end of this show. And what I want to know is, what kind of words of encouragement could you give them to open the door to their shop, go pick up a tool, go make a mess, go get awesome, go try welding for the first time? I mean, who knows? What would you say to all of them?
Go do something that scares the hell out of you, that you really want to learn, because when you start to actually hone that in, you're going to feel like the ultimate badass that you actually are, and it's going to be rad. So like, do that thing that scares you, get out there, try that new thing, show it yourself you can do it, show everybody else you can do it, and then be proud to share that shit with everyone. You got this.
And fuck the haters.
Yeah, fuck all the haters. Don't listen to the haters. They all suck.
You can't hide your
send
mouth.
Them to me. Send them
it
to
is
me.
10 p.m. Central. That means this is Sawdust Talk after dark. We say what we want to do.
Send them to me, and I'll make them cry to their moms.
Yeah, no, we'll send them to you, and they can be in the Christmas chainsaw cut, right?
Yeah, perfect. Love that.
All right, let's bring it home, Jessie.
This is episode 116 of Sawdust Talk, and tonight we got to hang out with Sam, DIY Huntress. We just love
This was fun. No, I love you guys. This was so fun. I'm so glad we got to do this. Thank you for inviting me and letting me like hang and crash your party today.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. We'll have you back anytime you want.
I love that. Don't tempt me with a good time.
So.
Oh, no, there will be a return of Sam.
Yeah.
Cool kids. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel, right?
Same bat time, same bat channel.
All right. Now, Jessie, this is where we have to cut to the end, and then we shuffle our papers like at the end of the news.
Yep.
Everybody look like you're being prudent and diligent.
That's like, did I tell you Anchorman's my favorite movie?
Well, see, look.